first year to your first job. So we have various sessions according your resume building skill, personality building skills, and then you have a how to prepare for various technologies. We have session on IoT, we have session on AI, we have session on pharma specific for pharma students and all, continuing the journey. And if I'm not wrong, the sixth session of lunch which we are doing, and we have already have a sufficient participation, and we're trying to increase more participation. This is basically targeted to students, but now we are with demand, we are trying to move it to a different segment as well, not only the technology, but to overall ecosystem of the IT careers. Or not only IT, any careers you see, like project management stuff, we are picking up today's topic. And Bitosa is running for in Bangalore for last 15 years. I'm the one of the founder member since 2005. I'm currently working as joint as secretary of Bitosa Bangalore. With the help and guidance of Dipesh sir, we thought this idea. This is the brainchild of Dipesh sir, and we try to leverage this and his expertise in IoT. He's being a veteran in IoT industry, and he was part of Niti Aayog and all this stuff. And he's also doing a lot of mentorship, innovatorship, and all. So we are having a team of 6-7 people which we work together in the background to get this all done: marketing, registration, logistics, identification of the topics, discussion with the speakers, and doing collaterals and all this stuff. So thanks to all the teams who work in the background. With this, I'll come to Anurag. Anurag is our product management speaker today in this topic. Anurag is a BIT alumni from 2K5 batch. He has done his MBA from ISB, and his career is mostly as of now I could see in part of Ola Electric. He started with Ola Financials and Ola Money, and he's having a product management experience, which is around close to half a decade of experience in product management. And he will lead us know how you can build a career in the product management space, what you should know, what you should do, and how you can make yourself available in that space or plunge in that space. So with this introduction, we'll try to leverage Anurag's experience. I'll hand over to you, Anurag. Over to you. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Anupam. Thank you for the kind words. So, hi everybody. So this is Anurag. So, currently working as a senior product manager with Ola Electric. So in the digital product vertical. So there's a scooter, the physical product, and then there's a technology on top of it. So I'm basically working on the technology part of it. Right. So started my career with the Steel Authorities, worked with Lenskart, did my MBA, joined Ola in the Ola Financial Services, right, and then currently as I told you. So just a brief about me. So let's start with what I planned for you guys. So I'll just share my screen. Dipesh sir, can you enable screen sharing?
Yeah, just a second.
You can see your screen, Anurag. Yeah.
This is Dipesh sir's screen.
No, just
Oh,
a
okay,
second.
sorry.
I have to just close it.
I think it's enabled, sir. I think you have enabled already share screen. So I think Anurag, you can share.
Yeah, now you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see now.
Thank you. So this session is, what is product management all about? What does a product manager sort of do, understanding the basics of it, and then how do some of us can transition into product management? Right? Very, 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 very basic of it. So the agenda for it is, we'll progress just a brief about what product management is, what does a product manager do, the basic skill sets, a very basic skill set of hard skills that a product manager should have, right? What is the differentiation between a product manager and a program manager, which is very oftenly confused upon, which since both are PMs. Then how we can transition into a product role, certain 3-4 profiles in general that we see people transitioning from into a product role, right? So product management is basically at the center of what we build for the organization, right? So it is like building the right product and ensuring that what we have built is right. For example, you build a motorcycle for somebody, right? And that does not work. So you have anyways built a product for him, but that is not working for him. So there's no point of giving that product to a customer as such. So you need to ensure that a motorcycle is built. You need to ensure that all the parts of that motorcycle are working properly for it to be a complete product, right? So now when we come to building the product, there are a lot of aspects involved in it, right? You need to understand what you want to build. You need to understand what the user wants. You need to understand, your competition, the market landscape, right? And then obviously there is always a resource crunch, right? Then you need to prioritize what to build first, what to build second, what to build third, right? And once you have built this product, right? So anyways, you're involved in the entire cycle of building this product, right? Who is building, what you are building, is it working fine, doing various checks at each and every space, right? That is what building the product right is about. Right? And then once that product is built, then you sort of move forward is, on the operations part of it, enabling the operations team to successfully deliver that product, right? This is what product management in general is about. So if I say product management is fundamentally about delivering successful products to a market of customers and users, right? It's a very basic functionality of this is this, right? And you need to do whatever it takes to ensure this. So it's a function within an organization. You need to manage the entire product life cycle, like planning, right? When to launch, what to launch, marketing, development of this. Then once you've developed the product, once you've launched it, does it need improvements? The constant analytics, the iteration cycle of it, right? So basically, product management sits at the center of any business organization, helping the organization discover the user needs, innovate the solutions that cater to a user's need, strategize on how to build products, how to build processes, how to solve using innovation, right? Once you have come all of that, experiment with what works best, right? It's not always that what you think is the best for the market, right? So you need to have constant feedback mechanism for it, right? Then plan to develop it, develop the actual product, introduce into the market, manage its entire life cycle, and then market it to your products to your users so that they can use, get a constant feedback, reiterate, upgrade, and doing it over and over again for, since your market dynamics are very dynamic in nature, they change, keep on changing constantly. You have a technology today, you have a new technology tomorrow. So that is what product management is all about. So who is a product manager, right? So you often hear people say product manager is the CEO of the product. It's like a mini CEO of the company, right? In certain ways, it is right. You know why? Why? Because you are the decision maker for the product, right? So the product fails or succeeds, it's entirely dependent upon the decision that you make, the actions that you take, right? But you are still not the CEO, right? As a CEO of the company, I have direct authority over everybody. I control what they do, how they do it, right? I can ask anybody to do anything. But as a product manager, you cannot force somebody to do anything, right? This is a very collaborative job. You don't have direct authority over anybody. You simply ask them, you collaborate with them. You need to understand how a person works, how a team works. Different teams work in different ways. For example, some people responds to, I want everything in black and white, respond to mails, put everything there. Certain people you have to go, bhai kar de, please do it. Okay, this is my network. So you have to develop personal relations also in some ways, right? So that is where you are coming. So you are a CEO in terms of taking decisions, what to build, what to cut, how to scope it out. But you have to get it done by collaborating, not by authority. Right. So as I said, you might be a product manager. If in the org structure you are separate and you do not have any direct reportees, right? So basically, on a broad level, there can be three type of product managers, right? So if you see, for a product, all of this is required. You need to have a budget, you need to have a product roadmap, you need to have investor relationships, you need to have business vision, which is aligning to your product vision, right? Then your technology that you want to use, the entire product roadmap, management of that product roadmap, right? Then there's finance, there's administration, there are various stakeholders that are involved, right? You have a business development team, you have an advertising team, you have a marketing team, you have the entire development engineering team. So a product it's not just about technology. A product can be a physical product as well, right? It can be a very tangible product. You have a software that is a technology product, but the scooter is a physical product. So one do have two separate products, you combine them, you can become a third product, sort of this, right? So the product comprises of all of this, and there can be a user first product manager, right? There can be a business first product manager, or there can be technology first product manager based on what intersection the product manager sits. So it is essential for a good product manager to have at least two of these skills, right? Two of these viewpoints, and to how to make a balance out of it. So just detailing what is a business product manager does, right? So business product manager sits at the bridge of a technology, a user first technology. So he is the voice of the customer for the technology as well as the business. So he bridges the user to the technology and business, right? So he understands the user needs and then satisfies them or fulfills their requirement with the product, right? So it's a very crucial task for a product manager to understand what the problem is. For example, I'll give you an example. For BID dispensary, I have a fever. What they will do is they will give you a paracetamol, right? And you'll take a paracetamol, you come back, you take that medicine, your fever goes away, right? What dispensary has done is they solved the symptom. They've not actually solved your problem, right? You might have a fever because of various reasons. You might have a flu, you might have dengue, it's like because of fatigue, whatever. So the actual product manager's task is to identify what the actual problem for the customer is, right? Everything a customer says is not truth, right? But you need to deep down, you need to ask questions, you need to drill down further to understand what is the thing that is the problem, and then you build accordingly. So it's the first principle around, right? Then making all product decisions. So if I'm a user first product manager, so you have understand customer focus, you have understood companies like saying customer obsessed companies, right? So what happens there is, in general, when whatever decision is made, that is made that does not keeping the customer's experience in mind, right? So automated refunds for customer queries. So all of this is to ensure customers wait time, customers interaction is seamless. So it's a customer first experience, right? This is basically more majorly seen in technology products, right? For example, so if I'm a user first product manager, my major questions will be around, if I'm building a product is, why does a customer need to refill this, right? If I'm filling a form and then I move back, I close it somehow, and then for whatever reasons, my app crashed, my internet went away, I closed the app, and then I come back again. So if I am a user first product manager, my first question is, how can I fix this? How can I resolve the customer pain point of refilling this all information? Can I save it, right? What are the bugs that I need to fix in order to ensure a seamless experience for the customer, right? And which customer I want to solve the problem for? These are generally questions which I ask as a user first product manager. Then there is a business first product manager, right? So as a business first product manager, what my primary intent is to explore wherever I can grow my business, explore new opportunities, and then exploit that opportunity, right? So my all product decisions will be based on what products can help the company grow. So my major focus is on growth, right? Getting, entering multiple businesses, or launching multiple products in the various segments, ensuring I can increase my reach to a lot of customers, so in the segment, that way. So my general questions for as a business product manager is, how does this feature help the top line, the profit, the top line of my company, the revenue of my company, the bottom line of my company, the profits of my company, right? What are the business development opportunities? What are the new business opportunities that are there? How can I grow my business 10x? And then I get solutions on top of that. Third type is a technology first product manager. As you know, technology keeps on evolving, right? So I need to ensure if this technology is uh, how redundant this technology will become in future, right? I have a technology today, and say 2 years down the line, this technology is no more, or it's absolute obsolete. So how can I use technology while building products which enable scalability, long-term sustenance of my product? What happens is every time market dynamics change, and if you have a short-term vision of the product or a technology, what happens is you will have to do a lot of rework, and that is sort of a cost for the company as such, right? It's cost for the company, it's an effort for everybody that is involved in this product development process. So as a product manager, technology first product manager, I should understand what technology is, how good this technology is, how long this technology will last, right? And then when I'm building the features, my question is, do I need to descope it based on the impact, based on the effort, based on the ROI, development ROI that is there? And then I should have a platform thinking key, if I can reuse this technology, reuse the component in multiple ways, right? And then how is my product scalable to different geographies, different customers, different languages? Localization is one example of it. So this is what a technology first product manager is. So if a good product manager, as a good product manager, you need to have at least two of this, right? You need to have a technology viewpoint as well as a user viewpoint, or a user viewpoint as well as a business viewpoint, because it's always a balance, right? You cannot build anything in isolation, because I build a product which is very good for a customer, which is very bad for a business, will not make sense. And what great product managers do is they balance all of these three out, right? So what do I do as a product manager? This is what I do. What my friends think, I'm just enjoying. What my mom thinks, I'm super cool CEO. What society thinks, he's just wasting his time. What my colleagues think is, he's relaxing, is enjoying. What I think is I'm, firefighting every day. And what I actually do is sort of, nobody's giving me directions. I don't have a head. I have to make decisions. I have no clarity. There's a lot of ambiguity. And then I'm sustaining in that environment. This is what product manager actually. So product manager role actually varies a lot based on, organization to organization and the stage that the company is in, right? So in startups, there's a lot of hustle. There's a lot of the environments are very dynamic, right? Today you're building that, tomorrow that product can get scraped, that idea can get scraped, because everybody is experimenting initially, right? So the responsibilities will vary. So since the resources crunch is always there, the budget is low, so you are the person who's doing sort of everything, right? You are the marketing guy, you are the product guy, you are the business development guy, you might even be the product development guy in some ways, right? So that is where a startup is. So you are expected to hustle, you are expected to go on the ground, get your hands dirty, deliver with minimum resources, and the company is growing. And once this is done, there's a stability phase comes wherein you can understand. So what happens is in a startup, uh, you don't get time to reiterate. Right? You build one product, you move on to the next product, right? And then you move on to the third product. This happens. So chances of improvement are minimal. So you take a risk, you take some informed decisions, right? You deal with ambiguity, and then you take a decision, and then you build that, and then you move forward, right? Once a stability phase comes, then you can sort of reiterate, improve those products upon. In matured companies, what happens is, you have clearly defined responsibilities. Within this product, so there are multiple divisions, right? You have a research division, you have a planning division, you have a development division. So your responsibility will be clearly defined, right? And you will have different people looking into different aspects of the product. So there are clearly defined boundaries. You know what you have to do, right? Only challenge is, so the chances of ideation, experimentation is low in a matured company. right? You experiment. So since the lead time of a product delivery is high in generally mature companies, it's high. So your chances of making errors are reduced. In a startup, your chances of making errors are more. You have time to experiment. People enable you to experiment, right? It's not in a mature company. You have to make a very informed decision. So a lot of data crunching, a lot of analytics is goes on top of it. What to exactly build, right? But on an overall level, so product manager will be performing either any of this or all of this, right? So you do research, you do a user research, you do a market and a competition research. So uh, user research is one of the very critical parts of a product management. As I said, I was giving you an example, right, of the dispensary giving you a medicine for fever, right? So as a user, I will come and tell you I have fever, right? But which medicine to give? So it's more like I need to ask you multiple questions. I need to diagnose what your actual problem is, and then I should come up with this is the exact problem that I want to solve. That is the problem that is bugging you, and then how to solve is another part, right? So what is your problem? What are the challenges in the current product that is in the market that is not solving your needs, right? What is the scope of that product? What is the how big that problem is? How big my target segment is? Can I be profitable? Is this a proper business case? That is all research, right? Then product planning and new product development. So generally is which product to launch in which market, right? And how soon to launch, at what frequencies to launch. This is all part of product planning and new product development. Now, product strategy, vision, and roadmap, right? So every company has a business vision, and then there are multiple products which are aligning to that vision, right? So what you do is, if you are at a senior position in a product management, you will be part of framing that vision, right? People, junior people will not get that, but everybody has to align to that vision, and then so you work as a team, like so building that product strategy, that product vision, and then the product roadmap, right? So you cannot build everything on day one. You have to have a product roadmap, right? Yeah, I'll build this one. So I'll build a MVP, minimum viable product first, right? Which then I will test it out. Then I'll do some addition on top of it, then some needle moving features on top of it. So that is all part of product roadmap, right? And then the actual product development happens. So this is where you majorly spend around 50% of your time as a product manager. As a product manager, in the junior version, as you move senior, uh, you become more of strategy and overseeing the managerial kind of role, right? So the backlog. When I say backlog, it is basically the list of features that I need to build, right? The entire list of features that I need to build for the product, right? And I will build or not is another decision, right? What to build first, what to build second, what to build third is what prioritization is all about. And as a product manager, it is my ultimate task to prioritize what to build, right? If I prioritize it wrongly, the entire business goes for a toss, right? And then getting that product actually built, coordinating with multiple stakeholders, aligning everybody on the product vision, aligning my technology team on the product, right? Unblocking them, resolving their queries, writing PRDs, right? This is all part of product management, product development, right? And then my stakeholder management, right? So for just giving an example, you have a wallet. Wallet is a regulatory product, right? So you will have a legal stakeholder, you will have compliance stakeholder, you will have a finance stakeholder, you'll have your internal stakeholders, the senior management, your development team. So you need to balance all of this out, align all of this, and then move forward, right? Because if you don't take compliance, go ahead, it becomes a bottleneck at the end. So you have to enable all of those things to ensure a smooth development, smooth launch of this product. Right. Once you have launched the product, obviously, getting user feedback in forms of surveys, talking to customers, calling. So don't expect somebody to call on your behalf, right? I ask my calling team to call a customer and ask a set of questions. They will do a mechanical work and give you output. I need to understand. So a customer will tell you a lot of things. You need to understand, read between the lines, and understand what exactly he wants to convey. Right. So the multiple ways of getting user feedback, talking to customers, surveys, A/B tests, right? Getting feedback on the app itself, right? All of those things are there. And then analytics, how is your product performing, right? Is it performing as per your expectations? Is it performing below par? What all tweaks you need to make on that, right? Based on the customer feedback, based on the analytics, as a combination of both. What all modifications you need to do? What are improvements you need to do? Which feature is working? Is it working? Do you need to roll back a feature? Do you need to stop a feature permanently? This is all part of analytics, right? And then the entire user's product lifecycle management, right from onboarding a user to that product, enabling his first time user experience, enabling him to have multiple usages, multiple interactions with your product, resolving all of his queries, all of his doubts. That is part of user's product lifecycle management. So as a product manager, you do all of this, one of this, based on the organization you are in, based on the maturity of the company, right? And based on your research. So generally people take 3-4 of this, right? A marketing team, you have a marketing product manager, right? So you understand user research, all of this. But in general, I as a product manager do most of this, right? So stakeholder, user feedback, analytics, lifecycle management is all what I do. Right? I'm also involved in part of research, part of product planning strategy. So, what are core skills that I require to be a product manager, right? So one is I need to understand the business, right? If I don't understand the business, I will not be contributing to the company. And building a product which does not contribute to the growth of the company is not worth building. Right? So you need to understand business, you need to understand profit and loss, you need to understand new business, the competition, the market, everything. You need to understand that. Okay, so none of this is, it's not like you cannot become a product manager without any of this, but you need to have a basic understanding to be a decent product manager to grow up in the ladder, right? Then you need to have understanding of basic product management principles, like you need to bring structure into your thought, you need to understand various frameworks to give you an objective output, right? You need to understand processes that happen on the ground actually, right? And you need to different product management methodologies, agile and all those things. All of this enable you to interact better with your stakeholders, right? Product management is not rocket science, right? It's common. If you think, you spend some time, you use your common sense, it will come out naturally. But what all of this does is help you manage your stakeholders in a very efficient way, right? If you have a proper structure, right, you will be able to convey your thoughts in a better way. You will not have to do rework. If you have frameworks, you can understand what's best, what's not. If you have understand the processes for different, so for a supply chain management example, you should understand a process to know what exactly to build, what exactly to talk, right? And different product methodologies. Then, as I said, a ruthless prioritization is what it's a very key skill. It's a must-have for every product manager, right? Without this, you will not be able to manage your time. You will not be able to deliver a successful product in time, right? And you will not be able to deliver what the customer wants. So 3 is a must-have for every product manager, right? Rest are you can develop over time, right? 4th is research and analysis. How to conduct research, how to gather insights, right? How to read between the lines of the customer, how to ask questions, what questions to ask to a customer to understand what the actual problem is, right? If I say, I want to sleep, why do you want to sleep? What is that is making you sleep? You did not sleep well last night, or you are tired, or is there some other, because of some illness? So you need to understand what the actual problem is, to a complete research, complete analysis, to have a proper product in place. And right then, and analytics top of it, you need to understand analytics, so you can understand how is your product performing, what is the output that you want to achieve, is it being achieved, is it not achieved, right? And then understanding certain development principles, right? Product development principles. So understanding development principles is slightly technical, right? but only so you don't need to understand coding as part of it to be a product manager. Right? Certain companies want you to code, have prior coding experience. Certain companies don't want it. But as a product manager, you are generally not asked to code, right? What it helps is you will have a fruitful and a better conversation with your development team, with the developers, QAs, if you understand technology, if you understand coding, right? But that is, you can still learn over time. So, a very misconception is there, keep a product manager and program manager is same, or product manager is a project manager, product manager is also a program manager. Okay, so they're on a high level, it's a blurry line along these, right? But trying to demystify the differences between them. So program manager is, in general, I'm given a problem, right? And I need to ensure that problem is solved. Right? It can be through a product, it can be through processes changes, it can be through anything. So my job is to get that problem solved by talking to maybe different departments, different stakeholders that is there, right? Ensuring that my the program charter that I have built, right? I will solve this problem in so and so steps. Step one of building a product, step two, changing the process, step three, this. Adhering to those timelines, right? Removing any of those bottlenecks so that problem is solved. That is what my is. So I'll talk to senior management if resources are required. There's a resource crunch. I'll talk to the product department to to convey what my problem is, what the problem that I'm trying to solve. Right. I'll not come up with a solution for the product. I'll be involved more from an operational point of view. Right. Then aligning everybody on this program vision, the program charter, and then what is this problem solving actually translates to a business, right? Business impact. So I'm not concerned about a user's experience. My task is primarily focused on business. My business is down 10%. I need to solve it. Right? Just to give an example. So I'll build a program around it. I'll identify various steps that can be done to solve a problem. I'll prioritize those steps. Then I'll align with various stakeholders and I ensure those steps are followed. Okay. What a product manager does is, I need to ensure that the right problem is being solved. Right? So if somebody comes to me as a product manager and says, my business is on 10%, I need to dig down and understand this 10% is originating from where, right? Bilkul root cause analysis, the first principle. And from there, I'll try to hit the problem at the nip itself. Right? Then I'm ensuring that whatever is being built, whatever is being solved through a product is being done the right way. The product is right, product is working, it's what the customer wants. So my entire focus is on the customer side of it. Right? Then aligning everybody within my team on this product's vision. So product can be a part of program as well. Right? And then how will it work on the ground, enabling support for that, unblocking the development team of any queries, having constant daily interactions with them, understanding what the progress is going on with development of the product, and then measure the impact of this product on the business as well as the user. This is what a product manager is. So program manager is more operations heavy role. A product manager is generally more technology heavy role. Right. So coming to the last part of this, so transitioning into a product manager role, right? So transitioning actually varies. So PM requirements actually vary from company to company. As I said, Amazon will prefer MBAs for PM roles, and technical background, coding background, or software development background is not critical. Facebook hires PMs who only have a coding background. Google hires both MBAs and non-MBAs. Your roles will vary based on, you're a technical product manager or you're a business product manager. And Microsoft also hires both technical and non-technical PMs, right? But a product manager will be more heavily involved in, decision making regarding the product. Other will be more of a program management role. So in general, these are the three fields. These are the four fields that people generally transition from, I transition into a product manager from a software engineer. I transition into a product manager from a product designer. I transition from a program manager, or transition from a product analyst. Right? People right out of college generally tend to companies like Ola. What happens is they will hire you from an engineering college, and you will be sort of put on track in a product analyst role. Right. So recently, Ola have also come up with a different sort of a EDP program. So you will be given a taste of more of this, and then you can decide where you want to go. Right. But generally, people transition from business analyst to a product manager from post engineering. This is where people transitioning from program manager to product manager is one is you can do those within your internal organization. That is easy for you, right? Else, generally people do an MBA for a career switch sort of thing. Software engineer is also more or less within the organization, and product designer is since you have experience into user research, to user facing. So generally you enter from a product designer to a product manager, generally into your tech companies, right? So what should people do generally, right? So if I'm a product designer, I want to transition into a product management role. I should start focusing more on metrics. I should focus on my communication skills, right? For me, and I already have one aspect of product management already covered. All of this rather have one aspect of product management already covered, right? So I already have a user experience flow, UI flow, design flow that is there. So I need to focus on the other aspects to sort of transition. A product analyst, I have a grasp of how business. I have a grasp of business knowledge. I have a grasp of analytics. Right. What I need to do is I need to learn prioritization. I need to think on a scale. And generally, what happens is I can apply for an internal transfer to a APM role, and or apply for different companies for an APM entry level PM roles. Right. For a software engineer, it is since I do not have a lot of customer focus, I need to increase my customer uh, research, customer understanding, customer pain point understanding point of view, right? And since I will be in, so I have uh, some taste of cross-functional team working in terms of stakeholder management. I need to improve those, and then I need to focus on metrics. And the interns transfer is the easiest way for a software engineer. Else, you do an MBA and then you switch careers. And program manager is anyways, you have a lot of working on timelines. You have stakeholder management already there. You have analytics already there. You need to focus on your customer. You need to have increase some technical knowledge, and then you can sort of transfer. Okay. So this is generally what product management is all about. So if somebody has any questions, I can take that.
Thank you, Anurag. Any questions we can take?
There is one question from Vivek. What is not a product manager role or responsibility?
So what is not a, so as I said, your role will be defined in type of organization you're working, right? If I'm working in a startup like Ola, so my task is to get that thing delivered, right? My task is as a product manager, I'll not give timelines. I don't decide timelines. That is what my task is not about. I'll have to get timelines for various stakeholders because I need to get things done by collaboration. Right? I cannot mandate anything, and I have a knowledge of about everything. Okay, I understand technology. I understand the development process, but the person who is actually developing or coding that code for the product is a different person. So I need to get timelines. So I will not give my timelines. I have to align timelines with everybody, and this is what. So as a product manager, I never give my own timelines. I get timelines from somebody else, and then I'll I'll ensure that something is adhered to. So I'm not a project manager. Like as a product manager, I am not a project manager. That is for sure, and I don't give timelines.
Anurag, I have a question. You said that you design an MVP, do an MVP, minimum viable product,
Right.
and if it works, you carry forward. It doesn't, you stop it. So
No, no.
what are few success criteria for a product to be decided and constructed in early stages of the development instead of getting a big bang expense and then flopping it off?
So generally what happens is, uh, as I have done my market research, I have done my user research, right? So I need to understand what is that I want to solve. Based on that, I decide my MVP, right? So I can have, so just saying example, I'm building say mm, a music app, right? App where people can sort of download music, right? So I need to understand what my primary user's intent is, right? And then what enables him to perform that flow. Then I build that MVP. Then I sort of analyze if this product is working or not. I don't cut it off immediately. I need to understand if there are tweaks available, if I can modify, if I built something wrong, why is the user using that product, just an example. Or so I'll define my success metrics based on the benchmark that I've come up with. Right, there's a status quo. So depend upon multiple use cases. If I'm launching a new product, I'll benchmark with the business, the competition. If I'm uh, adding a new feature for this, right, my benchmark would be my status quo. The other matrices are not impacted. So based on that, I take a call key what all I can tweak, right? And when I see there is no ROI, like if I want to make another tweak and the impact that I'm gonna create is way less than the development effort cost that's gonna be there. There's no point developing it. Right? And then I'm also not able to see a product adoption or product usage. At that point in time, I have to take a decision to cut that product off. Right? So what happens is generally people you stick to that product because since you have built it, so you have attachment. But you need to take an objective call there when to cut it off and not to cut it off. Right? So
Okay,
generally,
thank you.
what I do is on based on ROI, right? So what
Okay,
effort I want to invest into it, and what is the metrics that is going to move. If it's not significant, there's no point working on it, right?
okay. Yeah, thank you.
Hey Anurag, I have a question. So this is Chitranjan here. So there are many B schools currently who are offering, top tier B schools who are offering courses on product management, like a 6 months to 1 year course
Right.
on product management, especially IIMs, ISBs. So do you suggest
Right.
to enroll for those courses if somebody is interested into product management? I'm like for the executives, the working professionals.
To be honest, product management, what these schools will give you, they will tell you about the frameworks, general practices, good practices that are there in product management. So the output that I expect one to achieve from these is, a structured thought process, right? How to tackle problems, framework in mind, and how to proceed forward. So bring a lot of clarity into that process. It helps me get an objective way of answering my questions. So if I am really somebody who's really excited about product management and hasn't already done an MBA, so MBA anyway will give a lot of clarity into this. So you might not need to take that course, right? But as a fresher, as an engineer, if product management excites me, or as a designer, something excites me, then since it's sort of a certification course, I should actually go for it because it will help me put a lot of structure to my thoughts, a lot of frameworks, a lot of information of how to proceed with problem, how to solve problems, different methodologies of product management that will come into picture.
Sure, thanks. And just a follow up to that. So does that actually help in landing into the product management role from a different domain?
So to be honest, no. So the best method to switch, careers or switch roles is generally in India it is MBA. Outside India, yes, you can do it. Within India, people generally do an MBA and then switch roles from program to product, or from program to consulting. All of those things. So different B schools have different uh, you know preferences. People generally go to ISB because people want to move into consulting, right? People want to go to IIM because of different reasons. So based on the school that you are targeting, where you want to focus on your career, you should ideally people generally transitioning from MBA into product management, because most of the companies in India, they want a management degree. They don't want a product management degree, because as such there is no specific course that is generally available.
Okay, thank you.
There is one more question from Ravi Singh. Can you share any of the challenging tasks as a product manager that you enjoyed and learned?
So yeah, to be honest, January. So just sharing an example, maybe what happens is we had to launch a KYC product, right? Because RBI's deadline was approaching within 2 months, right? So meeting that deadline, right? Working day and night constantly with my developers in a war room for 4 weeks, right? Get that product launch is a very challenging task, right? Because you have to keep on working, keep on, you get tired, right? And you have to have a complete focus on where you want to go, what you want to deliver output, right? So you are talking to the quality team, you are sitting with them, you are doing tests, right? So that everything is rolling on time. So that is challenging, right? The outcome is once you see that users are adopting to that flow, right? You're adapting that product, they are using that product the way you want them to use, and when you see your matrices moving is sort of sort of what excites you. So for me it was one of these products. Obviously challenging from other challenging point of view is you build a product, right? And then you are not able to launch that product for whatever reasons, be internal uh, priority changes for the business, for the company, or management changes. This also happens, right? So happened to me. We'll build a product. We went through entire development of 4 months to build that product, and then there was a internal realignment from the top management, so we could not launch that product. So that is challenging, because not because you're not able to launch a product, because the entire team motivation goes down. Your motivation goes down, and since you are working with developers, their motivation goes down. So you need to ensure that the motivation is back to normal and everything. Those are challenging things that you face as a product manager.
How do you calculate ROI, especially if it cannot be quantified and is more of qualitative in nature? This is a question from Ajitab.
uh, I would actually like an example on this, just to elaborate, to understand the problem better.
Yeah, so this is Ajitab here, Anurag, and I was just going through the session. So I belong from human resource. So there are a lot of initiatives so when I say product, my understanding is not only the product which a marketing team takes up, even if I am developing an enterprise,
Right.
or if I'm developing a framework, is also a product for me, which I
Right.
will be delivering to the organization.
Yeah.
Now, in most of the initiatives, even if I say an employee engagement initiative, if I'm devising a framework for employee engagement, most of the things will come in a qualitative manner. For example, if I have to say that the business has the employee satisfaction level has increased, for an example, is a very qualitative way, and it's very difficult to put a matrix around. And management usually asks for an ROI. So how do you, so we have to do analytics, we get into binary calculation and then put across a matrix, which becomes a very cumbersome and a tedious way of representing just a data fact to the management. So is there a methodology, or is there something which you can share with your experience, that this is how you take up an ROI calculation, especially if the parameter is more of a qualitative rather than a quantitative?
What for me, in these situations, we still do the same thing that you have done, trying to come up with a metric and then calculating it. But in general, I always take, it's a PNL sort of view, right? The effort that I have put it in, working hours in that way. For just referring to your example, in that case, the matrices will change based on what ROI that I want to calculate. But in general, it is a cost view. So I try to assign a cost to it. It is an opportunity cost. Either it's an opportunity cost or it's a direct cost. So that is my cost view, and my output is again in the same way. what is it that I'm doing? So just taking an example, if my see attrition is a problem everywhere,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
when I say I have put in these measures, so eventually impact will be so people will be staying back, right? Right. So my profit is the opportunity cost that I would have lost in getting a new person, training him, all of that, time wise or cost wise, you can take on. And
Okay.
similarly, I can put a some estimate on how much effort I put into. That is the ROI, right?
Okay. Got it. Thank
So
you.
in general, what I do is I take up the cost view in general, right?
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
take up the opportunity cost if I don't have a direct cost, else it is there's a direct cost.
Got it. Thank you.
I think we come close to the time, Professor.
Yeah, so
No
we
further
can,
questions. Yeah.
we can conclude with the final question now. So this is a question from one of the, actually not a participant, but somebody who asked this question through the email. So this is by Prasenjit Chakravarti, and what he want to understand is the difference between product management and product lifecycle management. So what is kind of an understanding is that product lifecycle management is an important aspect of product management.
Right.
It is a, you can say, a subset of product management. Product management is applied more for digital products and apps, while product lifecycle management is originally a manufacturing concept. So maybe you can throw some light on it.
So the entire product management concept started from, it started from marketing, right? And product lifecycle management started from, as you said, the manufacturing, right? But you need not have a physical product to understand to implement the product lifecycle. So product management is about ensuring that what you are building, be it a physical product, be it a digital product, what you're building is built properly. The first slide, as I said, the build properly, and is what I have built is proper. So solving the right problems. So the product lifecycle management is a subset of it. Wherein I say uh, I need to understand when to build, what to build, when to stop building, when to depreciate that product. When it becomes redundant based on technology, based on, so when you say technology, so I say for example, I'm saying earlier people used to have soap APIs, uh, right? Now people have moved on to REST APIs just because soap is not scalable in nature. REST is more scalable in nature, right? So as I said, a technology product manager would understand that. From a physical product perspective, like Apple does, what it does in a product lifecycle management, it rolls out a product. They are early adopters. They are then it comes to a stable curve when people are normally using it. Then they are laggards. So if I allow this product to go its normal way, it will eventually die out, right? What I want to do is avoid dying out of these people, right? So product lifecycle management is more from a customer point of view rather than a product point of view. It's from a customer point of view is how my product is engaging the customer, what is the target segment that the product is engaging upon, right? And when will this product stop targeting, or do I need to make some modification, tweaking? That is all product management. One step up, right? All done, then your product lifecycle management takes place, right? Within that product, what is the stability, when I want to phase it out, when I want to revamp, all of those things. Hope I have I tried to answer.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
I think it's okay.
So Anupam, can we conclude now?
What I was saying, if everyone can switch on their camera, we can take a snap and then have a concluding remark from your side, and then we can conclude.
Okay. So request everyone to just switch on the camera for a few seconds. We can take a click.
Sir, आप ले रहे हो ना?
Yeah, so I'll just take it once all are there. So Arya, Vivek, Chitranjan, can you please switch on your camera for a few seconds? Vivek, can you please switch on? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, Anupam, we can carry on.
Yeah, so that's what. Thanks, Anurag, for your nice session. We have got a lot of queries being answered, and we'll try to look for next session if required
Sure.
for more details and in-depth with a specific product lineup we can get from people what they are looking for, whether digital, physical, tangible, or software products, and then we can decide on that as well in future. So with that, thanks for your time. I will hand over to Dipesh sir if you have any concluding remarks to close it off the session.
So thanks everyone. Thanks Anurag for a very insightful session on product management. And I recall my days of product management when I used to be a product manager in GE from 2001 to 2006. And this kind of just reminded me what all I used to do, because it was more of a application engineer role than a product manager from current time what you're talking right now. So it was a kind of a real insightful presentation. Thanks for that. And thanks Anupam for comparing the program so well. And thank you all for joining, all the participants for joining on a Sunday morning. So this was specifically done on a Sunday because Anurag is having a 6 days week, so he was not able to do it on Saturday. So we could not do it on the Saturday, and also not previous Saturday because of some issues last week. So we would like to continue this the plunge session going forward too, and we would like to have some feedback from you people who are attending these programs, and just as we have now gone into not just limiting to the people who are still in the campus, but also to 2 to 3 year experienced people, so that we can broaden our participant and also make sure that we are touching different topics with respect to various aspects of a career. Also, it could be related to entrepreneurship. So we are welcome to have your feedback, and I am sure that this would become better and more effective, and it all depends on what kind of inputs we get from you, and those are welcome. So thanks again to all of you, and thank you for joining today. Bye-bye.
So thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.